Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I worked more on the Paris jacket. It's now got green bits on it, and the back is almost entirely done.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
I spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to decide. So I finished editing the bead haul one and uploaded it. And I've got these two images, the photographs from the bead haul, and I could not decide what to do for the thumbnail. Then I started working on the Paris jacket again, and I have finished. I forgot to take a before photo, but previous videos are all basically the before photo, and here I finished all the blue beading, but I feel like I did more beads on this side than I did on the first side, because in between doing the first side I then went and did the pink and blue jacket, and then I did the second side, and the pink and blue jacket is really quite dense, the beading. It looks even, but we'll take the pink and blue one off the mannequin and we'll put the Paris one up there and we'll see what it looks like. So yeah, got to carefully unpin this one, and I love those flowers. They're a little bit cartoonish, but once the whole thing is there, I think they'll mesh well. Anyway, so here it is. It's not as uneven as I feared. It's not too bad. I think I will have to add more beads, but because I've done the full triangle of beads, obviously that side is going to have that on that sleeve. Obviously that side is going to have a little bit more weight because I haven't done the triangle on the other side yet. So perhaps I would just do the two triangles first, and then whatever disparity there is after that is a definite rather than just incidental, because I haven't finished the triangles. So yeah, they're not too bad though. Visually, they look quite similar. I suppose I could just I'll put it on a coat hanger and try and hold it. And if it slides off one side, it means that side's got too heavy. The problem with whenever I do just one side, then I go and do something else and come back a long time later and do the other side, I always get it wrong. And then I'm like, I'll add a little bit more to this side, and then they're uneven. So I'll add a little bit more to this side, and then they're uneven. And I end up just using so many beads, and it's never quite exact. So I don't really have the time or the blue beads to do that. I used up an impressive amount of beads. There are still some left. So, but I really want to do the sprinkling of green beads over the whole thing. So then I took the jacket off the mannequin and put it on a coat hanger, and I did it off camera first. Don't try this at home. And yeah, so I waved it about and it didn't slide off either side, which means generally speaking, the weight is balanced, accounting for the extra beads of the green triangle on one sleeve. Anyway, so I decided that's good enough for me, and I'm going to do the green smattering of green beads over the whole of the jacket. And there's three options. I've got novelty beads, non-novelty beads, or so the pony beads, the sort of smaller beads, and but I kind of want to keep them because you could use them on a tweed, or I could do a mix of the two, novelty plus normal shaped beads, classic shaped beads. And on the back, the big feature on the back is a mix of the two, but because that feature is so big, it kind of had to be a mix of the two. But what I'm doing now is a smattering over the body of the jacket. So I really want to use up the novelty beads. It's just going to be so much fun. So that is what I went with. And then I had to pick them all out. So I've divided them. The normal ones are back in the bag, and we've got some little shells which are transparent, and then we've got some butterflies which are transparent. We've got some cartoonish butterflies which are not transparent, they're solid ones, and then I've got all different shapes, some hearts and some bows and lots of different animals. And yeah, that one bead there, I think they're called cable beads. Anyway, it's left over from the orange tweed with the bright green beads on it. I'll come back again. Sorry, I don't have an individual shot of it, I don't think. That is a Chanel tweed, and Chanel tweeds are made in Paris. Well, actually, not all Chanel tweeds, but they are made in France. And anyway, so I found one bead and I was like, ah. So I'm going to put that on the Paris jacket. And then I've got some glass beads with a line in it, and then I put them with the animal beads that are lines, Lion. And anyway, I'll show you when I do it. Plus I have some little skull beads, and in Paris there is the catacombs, which is because Paris is such an ancient city. It used to be Gaul before it was Paris. So there's like loads of cemeteries and the revolution and all. Anyway, due to overcrowding, they had to take the bones and the skulls and they stack them underground, and you can go and have a look. I've never been there. It seems kind of disrespectful to be a tourist, that it's a tourist destination to me. Apparently there are tourists who go on this tour of the catacombs and they steal bones. Like, have a bit of respect. Anyway, so I started beading, and this side is done, half done, and the other side is not. And I just think these beads look fabulous. I'm going to go along. So I've done the vertical ones, and once I've done all the vertical ones on the whole jacket, I'll go back and do the horizontal ones. This is me just showing you them. And I put the whale near the Arc de Triomphe. You know, sometimes in travel guides they say so-and-so is 5 whales long. Like, they just measure things in weird ways. So the whale is near the Arc de Triomphe, and then I put the there's a sort of pyramid top, and I put that near. I sort of had to cut it in half, but once I'm wearing the jacket, on one side there'll be the pyramid and on the other side will be the Louvre, and the pyramid is out the front of the Louvre, this sculpture that looks like a pyramid. Anyway, and yeah, so I just, because beading takes so long and you've got the bag of beads right there, you're like, okay, next I'm going to use this, and it's going to be this, and it's going to mean this. And it's just so much fun because you can sort of dip in and out of what you're actually thinking about. Because I normally, when people knit and they just carry on entire conversations, well, I sort of do the same thing with beading, but this is more fun because, and that balloon reminds me of Wizard of Oz. So I'm like, I should be able to find a bead that matches it. And so next time I come around to a balloon, I've decided I'm going to use one of the lions because there's a lion in Wizard of Oz. But anyway, I couldn't think of what it was that I could use because it's very specific. There's novelty beads, but there's like not an entire range. I have to sort of go with what's there. So there's butterflies, there's a cartoon bunny rabbit head, there's love hearts, and there's the 2 lions. Because I'm still thinking about what jacket I should do for my New York City jacket. And in New York City, out the front of the 5th Avenue branch of the New York Public Library, there's 2 lions, and they're called Patience and Fortitude. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just sort of thinking of all the things I could do, and I've got these animal beads and some of them are lines. So anyway, and then I've got some rhinoceros beads around the neckline. So I think I'm going to do, because I was thinking of patience and fortitude, those 2 lions that sit outside the front of the New York Public Library. I think I'm going to have 2 rhino on one side of the neckline and 2 rhino on the other side. So I'll have to set them aside. Oh, and this is me showing you the skull beads. And you know how I had the word fin, which means the end, in French, and I put the skulls near it because, death is the end, and I was bored. And also the catacombs down underneath Paris, and that made me think of Les Miserables. And so and there's a song in the musical. I have read the book several times. Anyway, there's a song called Stars, and so that's why there are stars next to that. And then I started singing Les Mis to myself and went off on a tangent, but So I'm keeping myself entertained while I'm beading is the takeaway here. So I really like this. Obviously, I've only done the vertical and I'll have to come back and do the horizontal, but it's a good start. And I much prefer it to the just a plain blue on blue. And what is with, there's like a bird chasing down and trying to eat a butterfly, and then next picture over there's a bird trying to chase down a butterfly and eat it. What is with that? So I'm probably going to put some of the predator animals near that one as well, or maybe some of the skulls, because it seems a little death obsessed. Anyway, so I still have quite a few beads, definitely enough to finish this, which is awesome. So I shall continue. Look at all those glorious bright green beads. I know I should be sick of this color, but I'm totally not. When I was young, I used to have a t-shirt because I used to buy clothes from the kids section, and at one point I worked overseas and I was teaching small children, so I was wearing like I had a bright green t-shirt and it had a frog on it, and then it had the word frog underneath it, and then I had a hot pink one. And anyway, so yeah, these beads remind me, I love that green t-shirt. It was the cutest. And yeah, it reminds me of that t-shirt. Anyway, so I've done, this is sometime later obviously, and I've started work on the second side, and as I kind of got a little bit bored, so I'm like, instead of just doing horizontal, I did some vertical as well. It doesn't matter, I'm gonna have to do all the beading at one anyway. This is later again. I've turned the jacket round. I'm working on the right sleeve, and the triangle, I'm working on that bit, and you need to use seed beads in that. So I had to tip out some seed beads, and I was like, oh, the multicolors look really nice on this like blue on blue background. It would have, if you didn't like bright green, you could do multicolors, like you could do the base layer of beading in blue on blue, and then you could do a sprinkling of hundreds and thousands of colors. It would look very pretty, but I personally like this green. Anyway, so it's obviously not finished, but that's all the time I have for today, and it is just so cheerful. I love this. It's going to be an absolute nightmare to sew the lining in. I think I'm going to have to hand sew the lining in, so I might, next time I go to work on this jacket, I might just machine sew or hand stitch where the edge of the jacket is going to be, so the seam line, as long as I have a seam line, and then I can bead right up to it. And then once all the beading is done, I'll hand stitch the entire lining to the outer jacket. So I'll sort of, yeah, and that way I won't have to leave room for the foot of the machine. I love this triangle on the back here. Can you imagine an entire jacket? Like if you had enough beads of these green beads and you just did an entire jacket of that, it would be like a hedge. It would be, that doesn't sound very attractive, but it would be amazing. So now I want to do an entirely beaded jacket. So I think I'm going to do that brown paper bag one. Well, I should probably make up all the jackets with seasonal fabrics during December. Otherwise I'll have to wait 11 months. I mean, I don't really care. I like Christmas prints. The vintage Christmas prints that I've got, they're just so cute. And they're not particularly Christmassy, like the check one. I mean, it's the, yeah, and the vintage Christmas light ones, I don't think they're particularly Christmassy. It's just light globes. And the other one is just a check. So, oh, and this is me pointing out that I want to use the rest. Now that I've used up all the periwinkle blue beads that I'm going to use on this one, actually, there's a few on the front that I have to, as I said, I'll have to machine sew the exact edges, the seam line, and then once that's in, I'll be able to fully bead them. So I'll use a handful more of the blue beads, and then the rest of them I shall be able to use on this hideous pink number. It is so aggressively pink. It's hilarious, but it's great fun to work on. Beading into felt is awesome. Anyway, that's it for this episode. The Paris jacket is slowly coming along. Oh, I love that back on the, vertical gardens. They were invented by this guy who grew up in Paris, Patrick Blanc. And yeah, so another element to the links to Paris. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Happy sewing.